Hey guys, Jake the Sports here, back again. Second video in a long time. Just got the Fresno State Cal Poly game on in the background. I mean, let's be real here, no one cares. No other good games on right now. Really, only two big ones today that really most people are watching. That was West Virginia Pitt, obviously backyard brawl. Back at it again. I'd love to see that rivalry rekindled. Obviously, we all know about that time when Pitt, spoiled West Virginia's national championship hopes, which was huge. Here, let me just mute this for a second since we're on a damn commercial. Yeah, everyone remembers that game, obviously, and it sucked just because of conference realignment, how the teams didn't end up playing each other, but they've hopefully I think they scheduled a home and home. I'm assuming that just because they played at Pitt. And hopefully that's something that they can keep up. I mean, it was a great game. It was a sloppy game for sure. I mean, if anyone watched that, neither team was really prepared. Both wide receiver cores on both sides, they must have put on a lot of butter before that game because nobody could catch anything at all. I think JT Daniels and Kiva and Slovis, honestly, they both were great. And I mean, great quarterbacks, but the stats are going to look terrible because nobody could catch a dang pass. In my opinion, West Virginia should have won the game. I mean, just way too conservative. That 4th and 1, they did not go for it. They tried to draw them off sides. They didn't go for it. They could have just pounded it in there and tried to seal the game up. They didn't. They let Pitt hang around, and Pitt ended up winning. Huge mistake from West Virginia, if I'm being real. I think that's what cost you the game. I knew it right then and there. West Virginia, they were right in that game with Pitt, who's number 17 in the country right now. I don't think either team's going to end in the top 25 in terms of rankings. Pitt is not the 17th best team in the country. I think they've completely dropped off from last year winning an ACC title. They're not that good. They don't have Kenny Pickett anymore. I mean, Slovis is still pretty good, but it's just they're going to have a down year. I mean, they barely escaped with a win there against a not great West Virginia team. JT Daniels is the brightest spot on that team by far. But Pitt gets the win. They advance to 1-0. West Virginia falls to 0-1. So we'll see how that, tends to matter throughout the season. Personally, like I said, I don't think Pitt is going to be very good. Maybe they're not going to end at 17 or higher, in my opinion. They're going to probably end either low 20s, or they're just not going to be in the pool at all because I don't think they're a great team. But that was a great game. I enjoyed that. It's a good Thursday game, obviously. And then had the other big one, obviously Purdue versus Penn State. Now, Penn State, I would consider them a ranked team, and I think you could see Penn State now. Contrary to Pitt and West Virginia, I think you could see Penn State and Purdue end the season ranked. I think you could see both these teams end the season ranked. Very similar, kind of a similar situation, though. I mean, receivers could actually catch passes in this game, believe it or not. But it was just a close game, a bit of a sloppy game. I mean, that's kind of what you expect week one. I mean, this is exactly what happened with Notre Dame and Florida State last year. We'll get into Notre Dame in a minute, but they didn't play today. So, yeah, just getting back to Penn State and Purdue. I mean, geez, Sean Clifford has literally been there for half a century, I swear, dude. It's crazy. He's like one of these super seniors who took advantage of the COVID rule. And, he's an average quarterback. That's what you're going to get. But he made a huge, and I mean huge, game-winning drive. Drove right down the field. I mean, they were just... Purdue was just pounding them on defense. They couldn't get anything going. And all of a sudden, Sean Clifford freaking gets jump-started back to life, and he marches right down the field. I mean, it was quick. Like, they had, I want to say that a minute 36, they left like 55 seconds on the clock. Like, they did that thing like that. So, great job. I mean, I think Penn State deserved to win the game, but Purdue should have. Purdue should have. I mean, Purdue shoulda, coulda, woulda, and they didn't. I mean, again with Purdue, there's a few missed opportunities there. Just a few first downs go Purdue's way, and I think they win that ball game. But I think both those teams are pretty well rounded. I mean, O'Connell's a beast. I mean, that guy can pass all over the field. I know the Purdue, the Purdue offense is very one-dimensional, but it works. I mean, it worked against Penn State. I think Penn State's also a great team. I think the peak for both these teams would be. Peak for Penn State could be top 10. I think they could get to top 10 this year if they get on a roll. I mean, you got to remember, I know they finished the season terrible, but they were like number 4 or 3 last year. They finished they're not finished. They earlier in the season last year, they were like number 4, and that's when they played that huge game against Iowa, which they lost, and then Clifford got injured, and then the season just derailed from there. You got to remember that game and how high they were. And Purdue's coming off their best season in program history. So I expect these two teams to keep it going, honestly. In terms of just going forward, I think those are two teams that we're going to look back and say, wow, that actually was a good matchup. Because both these teams were unranked in this game. I think Penn State could be ranked after this. I think Purdue's a good team. I think they're solid. Yeah, I think both teams could finish in the top 25 at the end of the season. I don't think that for Pitt and West Virginia, though. But yeah, those were the big games. Obviously, some other notables. Tennessee blowing out Ball State, something Notre Dame couldn't do a while back. I mean, it's a few years ago now. What else? I'm trying to think of games. I mean, there weren't many notable ones. I mean, Fresno State beating Cal Poly. But who cares, though? Who cares? Few overtime games. I was watching some of the Group of 5 versus FCS games. A few of them went down to the wire. I know FIU won on a walk-off against Bryant. Nobody cares, but it was cool to see that. I'm just mainly happy college football is back. I mean, is there any other games? I do want to touch on this. Oklahoma State, your last year's Fiesta Bowl champions over Notre Dame. I don't want to talk about it. No, they actually won. I believe they won 58-44 over the Chippewas of Central Michigan. It's an ugly win. Now, okay, to be fair, they had complete control of the game. I mean, from pretty much start to finish. I believe they were up 37-7 at one point, but they gave up quite a few garbage touchdowns, and they were converting on 2-point conversions almost every time. And they got up to 44 points on you? 44? That's a bad look for Oklahoma State. I know they kind of had control there, but, I mean, depending on who's behind and above them, they could definitely drop in the rankings. That was not a great win. 58-44, that's an ugly score, So not a great win for Oklahoma State. I think the other ranked team that played was Wake Forest. I think they beat VMI like 44-10. Fine win. I mean, if you're playing a bad team, just blow them out and you're good. And that's what they did. I know. Let's see. Missouri won over LA Tech. Not really a shocker. I think Vandy's going to beat them, though. Vandy looked really good against Hawaii. Missouri was struggling to start off that game, so that's what I think. Other than that, I mean, no real other notables for the Thursday games, obviously. Friday games, honestly, more lackluster than today. Even though we had a few good games today, I mean, there's really nothing on. I think the only ranked team that plays is Western Michigan versus Michigan. Michigan's the ranked team, obviously. All the other games, I think there's going to be like Illinois, Indiana. That game will be okay. I think that's going to be a tough one to pick, honestly. That's a pick 'em, and I don't know. I'm going to go out on a win and say Illinois. I'm going to say Illinois wins that one. I don't know. It's going to be close, though. I think TCU plays Colorado in the non-con, two average to below average Power 5 teams. Game will be whatever, I guess. I mean, it's not really going to matter in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that's about it. And then obviously we got the Saturday bunch and then LSU versus Florida State on Sunday. So we got some games coming up. I'll be previewing, obviously, Ohio State versus Notre Dame. That'll be coming tomorrow. That's going to be my preview tomorrow. I know I haven't really been uploading before this, but Jake does sports. He gets into the swing of things once college football season starts up. So here he is. But yeah, this is going to be a tough game against Ohio State. I'm going to be honest. I'm telling you right now, I'm not predicting Notre Dame to win. Ohio State looks really, really good. Definitely natty contenders. It's going to be tough and rough for Marcus Freeman in his first ever game coaching. I mean, I know he was interim head coach. His first official start as a head coach. It's going to be interesting. See how things shake out. Obviously, Oregon, Georgia. I mean, I'll preview all those games. I might do the Notre Dame game in a separate video. We'll see. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated. This video's gone on way too long. I always ramble. And I'll see you guys next time on Jake the Sports tomorrow. Peace.